I just was sat there on my phone in the car, and my cousin was having a conversation with another gentleman, which is by the passenger window.
Yeah.
And they were saying goodbye, and then all of a sudden, this other guy, who was already on the scene, just came towards my window and then started squirting. It was like a squirty bottle.
And what did you think it was at first?
I thought it was petrol, so instinctively I tried to do up the window.
Yeah.
I was screaming and I said drive, because I thought the man was pouring petrol.
And you thought he might light it?
Yeah.
Right, okay. And then it wasn't just you, because then he ran round the other side to where your cousin was sitting and did the same thing, and again squirted the liquid, which we now know was acid, into the car. And he drove, didn't he? He just put his foot down.
He put his foot down, and the guy ran with the car and continued to pour the acid and squirt it throughout the car. Because when it got thrown on me at first, I saw the dashboard and it was just all smoke.
Oh my God.
So that's what I was worried, but I didn't realise what had happened until well after I was running around asking for help, because I didn't understand.
Well, you came to, you drove down the road. Obviously, Jamil is, he's got the burns of the acid as well. He's driving really quickly, and so loses control of the car, and the car crashes.
Yeah.
And so once you got out of the car, did you have to convince passers-by that something terrible had happened?
Well, once my cousin jumped out of the car, I then followed a few seconds later because I didn't understand, and I was trapped in on my side. So as I ran out to run after my cousin, he's running away, banging on doors and windows, trying to get help. At one point he ran into a random person's house who had their front door open, and someone, they literally grabbed him and threw him out because they didn't realise.
Because they were shocked.
Yeah, they just thought he was like an intruder in their home. Eventually people started bringing out buckets of water, and someone put a hose on, and we stood under a hose. But by this time we had been told to remove our clothes, and whatever clothes we had on had melted away.
And you had contact lenses also, which you had to get out of your eyes because, of course...
Yeah, that was what was worrying me the most, because it went straight into my face. So I knew I had contact lenses in at the same time, so I was stressing, thinking they're going to melt into my eyes.
Yeah, of course.
I spoke to a witness the other day during court, and he told me that when he looked into my eyes there was grey, and I only found that out on Monday. And
then the ambulance was called, and for 45 minutes no ambulance came, and it was a passerby that actually eventually took you to hospital, where you both got treatment. What did they do? Initially,
as soon as we went in, we both got taken separately, men and females. We got taken to separate parts of the hospital. And they put me under a cold shower, and I was just showering off acid.
And the pain, you say, was just unbearable.
I remember when I was in the shower, I was praying in the shower to die. I was completely praying to die. The pain was unbearable to the point where I wouldn't want to get out of the shower, and they had to keep timing the water. There's something to do with my skin. They needed to test the skin. And I remember when they also tried to wash your eyes out, so they had to hold my head back.
Oh, you poor girl.
And try and wash my eyes out, but it was painful.
So we can see those terrible pictures. How many skin grafts? What sort of treatment have you had to have?
I've had 3 skin grafts. I tend to get my eyes stitched together, and then that's meant to elasticate the skin to make it close, because it doesn't close anymore. I might also get another skin graft on my face. I'm just trying to find every other solution.
They have done the most remarkable job, though, haven't they?
Yeah, there's a lot on my body.
Yeah.
I think the body, because, for example, my face is flat, although the texture is different.
Yeah.
The face is flat, whereas my skin is lumpy and purple still.
So how do you feel now? Because you're saying you refuse to be defined by this, and so when you look in the mirror, how do you feel?
I have my good days and I have my bad days. I think the most important thing for me when it comes to how do I feel is I just think back to how much support I had from strangers all across the world. So in my head, it's just how can I let this break me when there's so many people wishing the best for me?
And you look at your messages, and that when you're feeling down, you look at those messages, and they lift you up.
Yeah, like people might think I've not responded or I haven't replied, but I genuinely just go through and read them. Yeah.
Well, the man who took out this unprovoked attack, John Tomlin, he earlier admitted to grievous bodily harm to the pair on Monday, but unexpectedly pleaded guilty to the more serious charges of causing grievous bodily harm with intent on the first day of his trial. This means that there's no need for it to go to a further trial. How do you feel about him? Do you understand why he did it? Can you ever forgive him?
I don't think this is about forgiveness, because I will never understand what possessed someone to do what they did, you know? And I did ask, you know, during court, because I had never actually got to face him, because it never got to that stage within the proceedings. I have always wondered why, but someone just basically sat me down and they went, you may never understand why, so don't dwell on why. Just...
Because we should point out, there is no clue as to motive here. Nobody has a clue as to why Tomlin did this to you.
Yeah, I know. I have no idea. I was genuinely just sat in a pair of sliders in the car at 9 in the morning. It happened to me on my 21st. I was like, there was a lot of events leading up with my family that made me that I was in the car. We were just driving around. But I will never understand.